Hello. And welcome back to the stream. Are we live? Yes, we are. Wonderful. Okay. Been a while. I don't know what part this is anymore. Um, who knows? Let's find out. Let's find out. Part 24. Yeah, the YouTube stream always defaults to unlisted. 1 second. There we go. Should be all live now. Okay, so the last time we were, God, sorry. Believe it or not, this is, okay, so I'm trying something new where, got some complaints from some particularly loud people in the audience about, my playlist that I sort of horribly shuffle through. And so the suggestion was, well, there are better game albums that you can use on Spotify. And that's what you're listening to right now is me making an attempt to play I can't really show you because it has my name in places. Okay, now it doesn't have my name. This is what we're playing right now. Um it's maybe we'll what about this? Yeah. So many albums to choose from. Anyway, it's quiet for me too. These are all quiet songs. I don't know why. How's that? Maybe it's a little bit better. All right. Okay. So anyway, last time we were here, I was working on this outdoor cardio tracker thing, and I kind of worked on it a little bit off stream since then, because to actually test it, it kind of required me looking like an idiot and running around my block, with my phone out, tracking, my speed and having it all go on the map and shit like that. So instead of having a weird stream where I get up and leave every 5 minutes for a duration of 5 minutes, I just did it all off stream. But for now, I figure we're gonna go back a little bit to basics and flesh out. Oh, let me update my stream title. Um, um, there we go. Okay. Anyway, we'll actually create, I think, the whole scheduling UI. So the idea is that, for at least a lot of weightlifters, it's not quite the same for those who are just cardio bunnies or whatever you want to refer to them as. Is that an acceptable term? Might be marginally. Hopefully, it's not a sexist term. I guess it does specifically refer to women. But anyway, cardio people. Um, in weightlifting, you typically have a cycle called progressive overload, where you stick with a low weight, then you do your workouts for the week, and then the next week is a bit of a medium weight, but with a little bit lower repage. And then you have another week where it's a heavier weight and an even lower rep range. And you do that for however many weeks you want to do. And eventually you get what's called a deload week, where you sort of drop all the weight, raise the reps up, and it's sort of like a recovery week where you're still doing the exercise, but it's a little bit light. And then the cycle loops back around again. So the idea is to sort of kind of make sort of a schedule that sort of somehow fits both lifters and cardio people and those who do a little bit of both, which is going to be very challenging. But if we can get this right, I think it'll be sort of the most compelling reason to use the app, because I don't really know of any other fitness app that, at least what I imagine or what I want to accomplish here, exists out in the wild. So let's drag everything around, start our emulator, and begin the journey. Once, it boots. What elm is this supposed to be? Like, what patch? It looks like 1.2, given it has the swarm here. Is it 1.2, babe? You would know. I imagine the one with Ronmei, where Ronmei came out. Ethereum Wars? I don't think so. I guess it could be. Yeah, it probably is, I suppose. Yep, Ethereum Wars. You're right. Do they have like MB, why don't you go ahead and sort of look through these and pick your favorite Honkai album for us to listen to. You know I love Herta's Office and all Herta things. Amphorius? Okay. Well, there are two Amphorius, it looks like. So there's Allegory of the Cave, which is probably the first half, if I had to guess. And then there's part 2. So I suppose we'll stick with part 1 because I'm not done with the, thing. No Herta's Office, I guess, though. Sad. Anyway. Compiling. Oh, and at some point, whenever we do finally get back to working on Rust, since we haven't needed the server for like anything in a while, we're gonna move the Rust server onto WSL. I have been very successful with that in my professional workflow instead of running it on Windows, because Windows is the worst. It's just been so much nicer. Anyway, how about we sort of throw all of this We can get rid of this. And we're gonna put like just a placeholder here specifically for the very purpose of moving that start run button away. Come on, analyzer. Whenever you're ready. There is a space there. Come on. Thank you. All right. So, let's create a new widget. I suppose that's the best place to start. We'll keep it stateless for now. And we'll do, how about exercise agenda? And the exercise agenda will kind of be, oh, and we'll need to put this in a scrollable. The exercise agenda, I figure, would kind of be like, you know, a quick view of what you should be doing today, and then also what you have tomorrow. I don't really see a point in including yesterday, although in a lot of agenda views it usually does have like a small thing for yesterday, but why do you care what you did yesterday? You already did it, right? So I think that will be quite nice, and we can even make this one quite a bit bigger. Okay, and let's wrap this in a column if it will let me. There we go. And we'll just label this as today. And we'll do the same thing over here. And call this tomorrow. Okay. And we pretty much have this theme going on where we wrap everything in this ugly little rectangle border here. We'll do 10, I'm sorry, 5. And we'll do a border side, and we'll make that app color scheme accent. And of course we have to grab our color scheme. We don't have an accent? Or are you just broken? Dart analyzer, come on. What about primary? Okay, it's called primary, but I swear it's not. I actually think it's lying. Because this is a much brighter color than this shit. That's why. Didn't even give the right fucking thing. App color scheme of context. There we go. Now we can grab our accent color. Great. And we'll also probably want some edge padding here. Music is a smidge loud. Okay. Is this better? Great. And we'll add some height padding, I suppose, just to have it. And maybe this can even be a little bit bigger. Well, actually, I suppose we can just grab the one on the summary view. Well, it seems apparently I just left it like that. Okay. Sounds good to me. We'll add a divider. Divider. Okay. And maybe just for now, just to get things moving, we'll add a edit schedule button. Exercise schedule. I know that's really ugly right now, but we can find a better place to put it in time. Yeah. So we have a home controller, we have a nutrition controller, and I suppose it's time we introduce the handy exercise controller. Okay. And over here, let's add I guess a scheduling route. Scheduling. Scheduling.dart. So we'll do exercise. Oops. Stateful exercise scheduling screen. And we'll add this as a route. Actually put it above cardio tracker. This it should really go after or before. Okay, and then we go to edit schedule and we get that. So let's grab our color scheme. Come on, click. There we go. And all of this padding stuff we're so fond of. Okay. So, I guess we will start with well, we'll pretend that this is where we're editing the schedule, I suppose. So we'll just do just something simple for now. And well, how I envision this working is sort of a grid where it's days going left to right, day, 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 and then weeks going down, week, 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 week. And we'll sort of dynamically size them ish so that you could sort of scroll through them effectively. I think that's probably the best way to do it. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but you'll see you'll see. So let's call this cycle grid. And we'll start with a class here, which will be exercise cycle. And we'll have days. This is 1, and we'll have weeks, which is 1. We'll kind of pretend that a week is any number of days. You know what? We'll call it blocks. That's better. Because, you know, you may have more exercises than actually fit in 7 days in your week, especially, you know, you may have rests. So maybe your cycle block is actually closer to like 8 or 9 days if you're crazy. Maybe it's less. And you cycle faster. So your block is like 3 days. And so you could conceivably fit like 2 blocks in a week. I don't know. I just don't want to be restrictive. Man, it is so hot in here. Sorry, very hot in my room. Always is. Okay, so let's I guess the best excuse me. The best thing to start with is probably a grid view. Get nervous about grid views because grid views are really annoying in the extent that they kind of demand that every block be about the same size, which is pretty bad. Usually it doesn't quite work that way. That's okay. So let's take an exercise cycle, and it'll actually be cycle days. And we will want cycle days times cycle blocks. And we'll add a little placeholder. And of course, we actually have to add it to the thing. Oh, and it doesn't have a size. I think we'll probably want to shrink wrap it. Maybe. Let's avoid shrink wrapping it for now, and we'll just keep it in an expanded. Okay, and let's play around here. We'll even set it again. That way it reloads repeatedly as we update. Okay, so now we're in the problem of the more days we get, the more collapsed this ends up becoming. But I actually want it to sort of scroll in 2 dimensions. So I think there's a widget that helps us with that. So Flutter 2D scroll. Oop, that's not how you... 2-dimensional scrollables. This is probably fine. 2-dimensional scrollable and 2-dimensional viewport. Yeah, okay. So we didn't want a grid view. Okay, and what do we need? Abstract classes can't be instantiated. What do you mean? What page was I just looking at? So do you have one that exists? There's this video, so we can at least just grab whatever she is eventually going to demo. Oh god, no, she is creating one from scratch, huh? Oh no. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, let's play around with this. Seems like she used a lot of magic numbers here. If I set this to 100, will it load properly? Nope. Okay, so she just kind of put the number 200 literally everywhere, huh? Which sucks. Why would you do that? You would think a Google engineer would know not to just like throw 200 literally everywhere. I mean, granted, this is just some demo code, but like, come on. All right. Well, anyway, let's steal it. Two-dimensional scroll grid. Okay. Okay, now we have the pleasure of going in and fixing all this stuff. And let's private everything too, because we don't accidentally want to call any of this stuff. How about child size, which we'll just make a size. And we'll require a child size. We'll pass that in here. And then pass that once again into our viewport. Okay. So this is column. So this is probably child size width, if I had to guess. This is probably child size height. This is width again. This is height. This is width again. This is height. This is height. This is width. This is height. And this is width. Two-dimensional roll grid. Did I accidentally private the main thing? Two-dimensional grid view. Okay. And we will say that the size is 200 just for now, so that we could make sure our code works just as well. Oh, and of course, that doesn't quite work if you can't see the borders between them. Nice. Okay, and you can't scroll diagonally, which is good. I don't want you to be able to. Okay. Um, Not 1,000% sure what a great um, color is for this. Like a good background color for the cells where we're going to end up putting everything. You know, you want that to look nice and be able to read the text okay. I suppose we can just stick with our normal color for now. And just go ahead and grab an accent. Oh, that didn't quite. Wow, that's really weird. What is up with this double line that appears only sometimes? Also, this text is supposed to be centered, but it is not. What's up with that? The hell song is this? Skipping that. That sounded terrible, dear. Why is this so weird? Yeah, this whole thing is fucked up. Is theirs? Nope, just mine. Maybe I got... Well, let's first set this stuff. That could... Ah, that was the problem. So we also have to assign that size to the container. Okay, no problem. No problem. No big deal. So we'll call this cell size. And we will switch this out for a material. And then we'll wrap this in a sized box dot from size, cell size. Nice. Okay. And we also need to add like a top header row and a side column row. I would love to just put a column up top and then fill it with a row and just go da 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 da, but then it won't scroll with it. And I don't want to do a dumb thing where we hook up the scroll controllers together. It's pretty dumb. So I guess we'll have to change this to a two-dimensional table view. and do a fun thing where we also build a header row. Also, I hate when all these are like final for no reason. I never really understood that. Why mark everything as final? There's no real benefit. We'll remove the comments too. Okay. So I guess let's just try and get the header working, huh? Also, why don't we just... Do I have access to this? Or is this a Flutter thing? Okay, it's a Flutter thing. Okay, start with header size, like we were going to do. And let's just start with the same width, slightly smaller height. Okay. And then we'll add that into the viewport. Yo, I'm like sweating. This is terrible. Why is it so hot in here? You didn't have the AC on. MB, are you hot? Or is it just, am I just like on the verge of death? Drink some. Okay, back to this. So we'll need header size, header size. Okay. So for all of this stuff, I could, but then I'd have to get up. Um, this is gonna be difficult actually to get to do what we want, huh? Okay, well, first off, what does leading column mean? I genuinely don't even know what this is referring to. Okay. Doesn't seem like... I guess it's... Alright. So what is the leading row? Why is it angry now? I got rid of everything that was making it angry, I thought. Let's reload because I think I just broke it. Okay, leading row is 0. Ah, I got you. I got you. I think. Okay, let's print out leading row again, and then we'll do trailing row. Okay, and then where does this actually go? Gotcha. Okay, that didn't make it get too angry. And we can do if the y-axis is 0. Um, How about this? Is header. And then if it's a header, we'll do header size. Otherwise, we'll do cell size. Okay. And then I think we can subtract the header height. I'm just kind of winging this, so, you know. Oh, maybe this would be good if we let it have the right number of cells. New. Plus header size dot height. Although this will keep it going, which isn't what we want. Whoa. This is not going too well. All right, let's get rid of all of this header stuff. We'll do it a different way. Okay. All the header stuff should be gone. Still doesn't look right. That's okay. All right, that's because of this. I'm gonna sort of redo this myself because I don't quite like what it wants here. Is this accurate? Yeah, 6. Okay. Okay, let's remove all of this stuff. Same for this. Let's comment it all out. Okay. And we'll still want this stuff though. Hey, PJ, BJ, BG. Whoops. How are you? I tried. I feel like you kind of set me up for it too. If I may. Maybe. Well, to catch you up, we're currently working on this two-dimensional like scroll grid thing. So, we're building this big health app, right? And we're so I don't know if you're into fitness or anything like that. I only am because I need to be or I'll die. Um, is typically in at least as a weightlifter, you sort of build out a cycle. So you'll have different blocks. So there's something called progressive overload where you kind of increase the weight of each block. So if you say like you work out 4 days a week, every week you increase the number of pounds that you're lifting and decrease the weight. And so this that I'm working on right now is sort of a grid which will help you sort of schedule that visually. Um, but like this is all the rest of it though. Like there's also a whole nutrition part to it and whatnot. But right now we're just working on the actual scheduling piece. Hope that made some sense. um, so we are also going to want to create the blank piece. Um, we'll call it the keystone. Might not make any sense, but I'm thinking about it sort of like an arch where if you have a table. No, I just mean like I'll get fat and die because I just like eating. But cool, glad you've been lifting for a few years. No, nothing too serious. So if here is like 1, 2, and Monday, Tuesday. This is always this blank space right here. So we'll call that the keystone. Food's just too good. I'll only be having pasta immediately after this stream too, so you know. Are you a Flutter dev or interested in Flutter? Just curious. Layout 0, 0. And let's see what we get for this. Cool. Um, let's also get oh, cool. Brand new coder. Wow, wow. I've been coding for like, oh God, what, like 8 years now? Man, time flies. I hope you like it. It's one of my favorite things ever. Header size. Call it top legends instead, and then side legends, since we're gonna have multiple here. And then cell size, height. There we go. But cool. Always good to see people, new people getting into the field, especially with, you know, there's a lot of talk with AI and stuff like that. I know that it's can be discouraging for a lot of people. So I'm glad that you're still taking an interest. If I may espouse it you a little bit, I've said this many times, but personally, I consider coding really to be the best artistic expression I've ever found. Can't really do it without ChatGPT. Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's a good trainer, but I do encourage you to look. The best way to learn, you know, if you want my 2 cents, whatever it's worth, is it's all great when, you know, the chatbot tells you what to write, but I suggest you also prompt it to really have to link that documentation for you, so you can get used to sort of reading documentation. Because once you start reading that, well, that's the handbook for pretty much the whole thing. All documentation basically looks the same. So when you can read one little package's documentation, you can read every package's documentation. So if I can give you like one piece of advice, is don't slack on documentation. You will get a lot out of being able to read that. Who cares if you document your own stuff, but reading other people's documentation, probably the best thing I could recommend. But, you know, for whatever that's worth. Top legend. Oh, it should have been top legend size. God damn it. Side legend size. Good, good. Yeah, I'm not knocking you for using AI. It's a great learning tool. And look, I don't even know how interested in like getting into. You know, you say you're using it for a project. If you want to tell me about that, that'd be cool. But I don't want to. For a newcomer, it's not like an elitist thing where like if it helps you learn it, it helps you get passionate about it. It's pretty cool. I remember I had a tough time getting into it. Um, but you know, then I sort of took an introduction class in college, and that, you know, gave me the foothold. But before that, you know, it was too intimidating. So if that's what works for you, that to me, that's great. Are they okay if I like build my own child vicinity? How about child cell extends child vicinity? A server hosting website. Like, meaning, like a, what's that? Like a Heroku? Oh man. Well, like an AWS kind of thing where people actually set up kind of servers, and you'll handle the actual infrastructure part. Is that sort of what you're doing? So infrastructure as a service? Because that's pretty cool. Oh, and as an aside, I did get into hardware first as well. I built you know several computers before I ever learned how to code, so I get it. Uh, final. Um, Ooh, Keystone. Final Pool. Top Legends. Final Pool. Side Legends. Final Pool. Body Cell. Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Hmm. That's pretty neat. You could probably make a nice little side business off of that. I'm curious. You must have a lot of hardware lying around if you're interested in making a infrastructure as a service platform. It's pretty bold. That would make me nervous, frankly. This could be const. Are we looping? We're looping. Sorry, Envy. You gotta pick a new album. Recall your choices. I'm declining part 2 because I'm not there yet. I know you do. Come on, you gotta pick something. Anything not from the Lufa. Okay, you got it. Um, well, we'll skip the like literal first song. I used to do crypto mining. Okay. Yeah, crypto mining is a lot different than server hosting, though. You probably just had like a ton of GPUs, which is like kind of useless for server hosting. You need CPUs, high core count. Like old Xenons and Epic isn't really that old, but like old Epics. Actually, what are Xenons going for these days? Intel Xeon processor. Sorry, I said Xeon. Um, what can you get them for? This is a 14 core. That's pretty low. I don't know. How much would you need for a Minecraft server? 22 for 400? You could probably like maybe get someone to do like a dual core for like a Minecraft server. I think most people would want a quad core since I think the server, at least it used to be, there's like this whole Bedrock edition now. I haven't played Minecraft since like 2018 or something. Maybe older. Ryzen 9s. Yeah, but that's a very expensive route, isn't it? To get a bunch of, especially X variant. Um, because that's basically what I have, and this cost me like what, $500, although this computer's about 3 years old now. Yeah. Resale's pretty good. I don't know. I would just think you could probably get a bunch of secondhand Xeons. Yeah, he's rich on Bitcoin. I'm not. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. You could probably cuz this is like 23 bucks, man. For an 8 core, it's probably awful. It's not even listing a clock speed. Yeah, 210 clock speed. That fucking sucks, but like Minecraft servers I think are still Java. Um but Java tends to do better with extra cores. Well, maybe the VM options that Minecraft uses don't let it do better with extra cores. Don't know. I don't know. Either way, it's still a cool project. Not knocking on it, that's for sure. This is a keystone. Oh. My cat just came into the room and started screaming. Oh, he's hungry. Why are you hungry? It's 7 o'clock. You eat at 8. What's wrong with you? He's so silly. Bye, buddy. Maybe he just doesn't like me talking at the wall. Okay, so if I do something crazy where I cast it, do I have like a preview? Um, Other than like this other stuff I can show you, right? So, a typical nutrition journal, right? Allows you to, sorry, this music's a little bit loud here. Sort of lets you log a bunch of meals, and individual food items. So we have that. Got over here, you got some pie charts to show you like how you're doing for the day. This is specifically calories. You can go over and then look at something like protein. We have graphs where we could track how you're doing given a number of days. This is all like demo data. There, if you go into here, you can then add stuff to your breakfast, or whatever meal you're adding to. So you can add 3 servings of Campbell's tomato soup or whatever. There's also the ability to create different foods. You can scan like a barcode, add in some serving sizes, stuff like that. The UI is still pretty like plain. I'm more working on the functionality. It kind of looks like shit, frankly. But we're getting there. Same thing for creating a meal. You know, everyone's favorite meal of Oreos and tomato soup. So, you know, just some bare stuff right now. Right now, still working on this DOM grid. That will be the end of me. Yep. Okay, so if cell position is keystone, we can instead just return. Oh yeah. It's tasty. It's tasty. Um, side width and top height. There we go. Now we have our keystone. Keystone. For how long have I been streaming? I assume you mean all time instead of just like today, because today it's just been an hour and 20 minutes. But all time, I think I started back in May of this year. So not very long. This is the only real project that we've worked on. There's also a server component if you're interested in Rust. But given that we're working on UI, there's really no point in activating it. Yeah, so not long. All right, and all the way back over here. We can even collapse this. We don't need it. So for I plus 1 in max row index. So let's actually call this child rows, child columns. A little bit of both. So I took an intro to Python class in college and then an intro to Java. Those are the only programming courses I took. The rest were all other like IT centered. So technically my degree is in systems and network engineering. With a dash of cybersecurity. So all the other stuff I learned on my own time. So this language right here in Flutter is Dart. I learned Rust on my own time, C++, JavaScript, if you want to count HTML, PHP for like a minute. Yeah, I guess that covers it. I wouldn't really say oh, there's been some scripting languages, right? So I guess like PowerShell, Bash. But yeah, I consider myself pretty much self-taught, if that's what you're going for. So child rows, nope, child columns. Oh no, actually, child columns is fine. Is it? No, we still gotta do +1. I haven't had it in a while. As well as my professional career as a software engineer. It's also, my hobby. So it's funny you say that, but yeah. We are also going to want to grab X offset. And let's start it. Or we'll just keep adding to it. I think that works out. And we'll recreate the keystone size. Keystone size. Oh. Oh, we got a 5-star. Okay, thank you, Honkai Star Rail. Woo. All right. Child cell, X index, and then this is a top legend. So if also position is top legend, we'll do this. That everyone who learns to code goes far left or far right with no in between, like politically. um, huh. I gotta say that's not a particular myth I I mean I guess I've seen the memes, right? Is that really true? No, of course not. It's a very vast field with a lot of people from a lot of different cultures, and so like any real mix of people, no. Especially given it's not actually that political of an industry, other than what we sometimes choose to work on. Um, so no, I wouldn't say that's really true, but there are a lot of memes where you have the people who, there are. I know what you're getting at, max row index, max. Guess I got rid of that, huh? That's pretty funny. I'm basically a solo dev, so I don't get to work with a lot of other people. I'm sure those who actually work in like Silicon Valley, or New York City, probably do fit a little bit more into the meme. But as a solo dev who gets to work from home, not much of a. Seems pretty balanced where I'm sitting. So this is not correct. So what did I do? Child width times child columns plus keystone. That should theoretically be correct. And yet, this is not rendering. 650. And what's the child size list? 200. Why does it think we only have 3 columns? We have 3 rows, not 3 columns. Well, we got 6 columns. These are backwards. All right, how about now? 6 to 50. Yeah, Python will do that to you. I would say JavaScript more, but yeah, Python will do that to you. JavaScript's the worst. If there's any language that you have to learn that like is also simultaneously the worst thing to ever learn, it's JavaScript. That language makes me want to die. Look up JavaScript memes. Then you'll understand. Truly, that is the one that deserves the most of your ire. This is quite the song. Interesting. So TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. So TypeScript is built on, another way of saying it is TypeScript is built on top of JavaScript. At the end of the day, they're both JavaScript. So what TypeScript does is it just adds typing, like by typing, I mean like labeling things as an int, labeling things as a double, labeling things as a string to JavaScript. Otherwise, you literally just declare everything as var. And then you kind of never know what type it is, and you just kind of hope for the best that the thing that you actually grabbed was, you know, the integer that you wanted it to be or a string. So TypeScript was invented by Microsoft to help alleviate the issue of when you get into a really large JavaScript project and then you all of a sudden go to pull in a new function or a new package or you add another member to the team, they don't actually know what the hell any of these functions are returning because they could basically just be anything. So TypeScript allows you to label types. And all that really does is your IDE, your editor, so for me it's VS Code, will do the job of telling you, hey, you just took a string, you can't like divide a string by 4. Integers and doubles and floats can only be divided by 4. You're crazy, you know. And so that just gives you a little bit ahead of time stuff to as guardrails to make sure you didn't do anything stupid. Python sort of recently, not that recently, introduced something similar where they added typing. I think in 3.7, I think we're on 3.15 now, if I recall. 3.7, they added a typing system as well, which just does the same thing. Um, uh, it adds types to your IDE. But you could still, in Python and JavaScript, you can still declare it the wrong type and it will still like do its best to function. And while I'm sure you think it's not that bad, I'm gonna pull the card of because you don't know any better. Python, like I said, was my first language. I loved it. I thought it was the best thing ever. Only want to work in Python. It's great. Why do I have to type all this extra stuff? Add in all the types. And then I started actually deploying stuff into production. And all of a sudden, my servers would crash after running for like 3 days with no issue because it all of a sudden called like one function all the way in the middle of it that like returned a none, but I didn't know it returned a none. And so I was anticipating it would always return a string, and then I did an operation, that returned none. And so now I pretty much refuse to work in anything that isn't strictly typed because that issue never happens to me anymore. If it compiles, it's probably not going to crash. I write all my servers in Rust these days, um, and it's never crashed once. The server has ran out of memory, but like that, I just added more memory, and that was fine. Hasn't crashed since I added more memory. It's not a Rust problem. Oh, why won't this extend? I've just been kind of doing nothing. Is it this? Is this the issue? Sorry, that's my JavaScript rant. Or my dynamically typed language rant. You can kind of do that in this language, so you can do var like thing and then do like 10, but it will try its best to recognize it. 700 lines, 21 warnings, and 9 errors, but it still works. All right. Well, as a solo dev, my professional project is around a little over 500,000 lines of code. Um, so I can't afford to have that level of warning and error ratio that you have to lines of code. That's pretty funny. Genuinely confused by this small apply offset properly. Is it just not like that I'm doing like variable sizes? Because it shouldn't care. Why do you care? Loosen? That's fine. Let's find out what this is clamped to. Maybe that will tell us. 855. Why? Ah, okay. Yeah. No, that works. If it works, it's cool with you. Yeah. For what you're doing, look, if it gets you started and it keeps you motivated, that's the big thing, right? So, at the end of the day, if you will complete the project by using whatever you're using, I would never stop you. I don't know why this isn't working now. There shouldn't be anything wrong here. PEMDAS? Yeah, yeah. Well, while you still have your hair, you'll find the time. What if I add no height? Nope, really doesn't care. How did they do it here? Alright, well, I'm moving on to the rows. And they can fight me on it. Plus keystone height. Should this have been like added +1? Is that the big problem here? Is that why all this doesn't work? Nope. Not a problem at all. Okay, I didn't think so. But this is my first time working with a two-dimensional viewport, so thought I'd give it a shot. Anyway, let's build the body. We'll do double. Well, we'll do Y offset, X offset, and then we'll do a big loop. It's not what I wanted, but that's okay. Please stop. God, I cannot stand GitHub Copilot sometimes. Really annoying. Anyway, these should be Y and X. That way we can keep our head straight here. Okay. Ooh, is this Y? That might be Y. Yeah, that was it. Nice. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, that was the problem. This was above that, so it was adding before everything, creating an extra block. Oh, I should have caught that so much longer ago. So long ago. There we go. Man. Stupid things you do when you're on camera. Plus cache extent. Did they use that? Genuinely, where did they even use cache extent? Import with. Oh God, no. No, one is not enough at all. I have three monitors. I have a triple monitor set up. You're on my left monitor. My actual emulator is on the right monitor. Like I'll even sort of, you can kind of tell if I bring it down here that it was on a different one. Yeah, no. No, 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 no. When you got like the server up on one monitor, then you have the client on the other monitor, and then you have documentation on the other monitor, you know, or ChatGPT, what have you. Just can't. It's just a nightmare. I tried, you know, I've used, you know, one, two, three monitors all in the past. You know, even worked off a tiny little laptop. Triple monitors are the best. In fact, I wish I had more. I need more monitors. Always more monitors. Oh, and this got messed up, huh? So that's probably because this should be out here. Almost. Why is our height not going the way it should? Plan the space out if you want more monitors. If you're planning to get into this, yeah, definitely at least get two. At least get two. 100%. I don't regret the purchase at all. If you can afford it, I also recommend at least 1440p. That way you can have, you know, a smaller text size and still get away with it and still see it properly. These are 4K monitors. Uh, Highly recommend. All right. Why will you not increment? Well, how many rows do I even have here? If you don't mind me asking, you live in like US or something? Or Europe? We've actually got like a couple of people on the stream have been like all over the world. We had like a guy from Kazakhstan, a guy from Spain. I forget where Sejin's from. Like Thailand or something. I'm personally in New York, if that helps. I feel like we've looped through this album enough. Nothing from the Lufo. Here, we'll try something from Panaconi. Bulgaria, Eastern Europe. Very close. Yeah, almost US. Almost got you right. Bulgaria. Cool. I've unfortunately never been. No real plans either, regrettably. God. Um. hmm. God, we're so close. So why won't you output your Y offset? LA? Ah, you could do better than LA. Why LA? I have no interest in going to LA. I'm not really. I guess California probably has nice beaches. I, I, I mean, I get plenty of beaches in New York, but come to New York City. We have the best pizza and the best pasta and hot dogs and falafel because of GTA 5. You want to point out, oh, it's the Vinewood sign, you know? I hear that LA is usually fairly disappointing. Um, but you know, just because it's not my cup of tea, it might be yours. If you want an actual like impressive city, I would say New York. If you're just kind of interested in enjoying the Oh, hey Yosef. Sorry, I didn't notice you over there. What do you mean my YouTube chat is broken? I see him perfectly. Oh, do you mean that it's not showing up on the screen? Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Anyway, LA is nice if you like the beaches. Um, yeah, hey Yosef. We're working on a rendering out this two-dimensional viewport here, and for whatever goddamn reason, I can't get the other rows of blocks to show up. Even though these show up, this one won't, and I don't really know why. It's telling me that the offsets are good. Everything should be working, and yet it doesn't. And yet it doesn't. I chose an interesting album. Yeah, both horizontally and vertically. You have beaches here, so big city vibe. New York City doesn't get bigger than that. It's in the name. The Big Apple part, not the New York City part. And if you're into nightlife, well, we are the city that never sleeps. Since he told me that he was interested in LA. Once he said LA, then I felt like I had to prop up New York City because, if there's really only two cities to visit in America, I'm gonna at least tell you what the best one is. Got much better food. You like the food here. Yeah. LA's garbage. Heck LA. You don't understand the problem? All right. So Yosef over here. Um, so we're building this grid. I added sort of a header row of variable size and then a side row of variable size, and then I want the regular cells all to be of a uniform size. So over here, we're calculating some offsets to paint our children. So we get the parent data of our child, and we add a layout offset, which is this. And so theoretically, it should be appearing here with block 2-1 or block 1-2 and then block 2-2. But it's not. The giant sphere? What giant sphere? There's a giant sphere? Oh, the big the one with the LED panels that like is basically a big screen. Yeah, that's Las Vegas. You can make it there from LA, but like that'll be like a 2.5 hour drive through the desert. Yeah, why? The offsets make perfect sense. Anyway, we're kind of running out of time here as it's almost time for dinner. Oh, that's what it is. I've solved it. I've solved the problem. There was nothing wrong with the Y offset. It was the X offset. Of course it was. I was adding it up and not resetting it at the end of this loop, of the inner loop. Oh, my God. It's been all this time interrogating the Y offset. It was the X offset. So technically, if I may, it was going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way off the screen. Which, you know. What language are we coding in? We are coding in Dart using the Flutter SDK. So you can say we're coding in Flutter or we're coding in Dart. I don't really care. But we're coding in Dart. Is the true answer. I highly recommend it. It's great. Thanks for showing up, guys. I still want to get this content dimensions to sort of scroll in. But maybe that will have to be for another day because it's late. You know, why can't I just reuse these offsets? Technically, this X offset is not wrong. That is the extent. But for whatever reason, it refuses to scroll. For how long have I been going to the gym? Not as long as I should have been. So that's a complicated question. I've struggled on and off with going to the gym. So, in high school, I went every once in a while. I'd go for a couple months and then I'd drop off. tried that again in college, did for a couple months, and then I dropped off, And I repeat that cycle pretty much every year. Then when I graduated, probably about a year after I moved out, I was on a good 6 month stint where I dropped like 70 pounds. And that was pretty cool. And then I sprained my SI ligament, which is in my lower back. And then I couldn't do anything, let alone like walk for like a week. And so that kind of killed a lot while I had to go through about, 8 or so weeks of physical therapy, uh, to get, back in working order. And so that killed all my momentum again. And then I picked it back up. Didn't last too long. And every time I've stopped about since then is because I started smoking probably too much weed. And I got a little bit too lazy. So, no longer smoking weed. And I've been in the gym for a little over a month now. So, not too long. Uh, but I've been technically on and off for many years. I'm hoping that this is the last time I go through this cycle and that I just stick to it. That's the plan. Why the fuck won't this scroll? How do you scroll? Check physics. The physics worked before. It was scrolling, then it stopped. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. PJ. Yeah, look, that's the goal. The goal is to keep going. We'll see what happens. I hope to not give up, but life is life. Life is life. All right, guys. I appreciate you all hanging out with me while I bang my head. You see, it like wants to scroll, but then it fucking doesn't. Anyway, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's no way that it's because it doesn't have a decoration, right? I'm no, right? Okay. Oh man, if that had been the reason. Ooh. That has happened to me before where because I didn't have a box decoration, it didn't count as scrolling. Anyway, once again, thank you guys for watching. That's the end of the stream today. I gotta go eat dinner. Having some pasta. Um, have a good one, guys. And thank you for the follow, PJ. Talk to you guys later. Thank you.